Hello students, today I am here to give you a lecture on your unit 3, which is marketing mix. Marketing mix is nothing but it comprises of different strategies to sell your product. So it can include your product, price, place and promotion, right? We also call it as 4 P's of marketing. This is a very important topic, okay? So the 4 P's are your product, what product you're actually selling to the customers, at what price you're selling to the customers, place. This is where a lot of you get confused regarding when I say place. It's not just the point of where you sell it, it mostly talks about the channels of distribution. How does the product reach from the producer to the ultimate consumer? And promotion is nothing but communicating to the consumer what kind of products you are manufacturing. So if you just take a look at it, so product includes the product variety, what kind of products you sell, what are the different variants of it, right? Product attributes, what are the features that you give, like your iPhones, they keep adding on different features, right? So those are your product attributes. Packaging, how well a product is packaged. If you look at the different kinds of packaging, like your milk comes in a different kind of packaging versus your medicines, right? That is your packaging. Branding is nothing but the brand name of a product, like how you are promoting your product, that is your branding. And your servicing is after the sales, what kind of facility are you providing, like your after sales services, your guarantee, warranty, all of that. So all that comes under your product. Next is your price. So price includes your pricing strategy, like how much money do I want to make out of it. Like there are different strategies to it. Discount, because of discount people will want to buy a product, okay. Credit terms is like how or when do I have to make payment for this particular product. There are a lot of EMI options these days. So all that will come under your credit terms, okay. So this is your price. Next is your place. Place, as I already told you, is how the product reaches from the producer to the ultimate consumer. So it can be through warehousing. Warehousing is nothing but stocking your products so that you can give it to your consumers as and when they require. Transportation, again, because consumers are located in different geographical area, you can transport from one place to another. Your inventory is how much you are able to stock, and your channels of distribution are your intermediaries, like your wholesalers, your retailers, your agents, all those people in between who are helping you to get the product from the producer to the consumer, right? So that is about place. Next is promotion. So promotion is nothing but communicating to your consumers what is available or what you are selling. So under that, the first one is your sales promotion. So sales promotion includes a lot of different strategies that you're trying to implement to sell your product. So one of the sales promotion strategies could be your giving some discounts or coupons, like certain offers. All those comes under your sales promotion. Your sales force are your employees who work for you, who are working towards selling your product. Your direct marketing, you've heard of companies like your Amway, Tupperware, that directly sell your product to the ultimate consumer, right? Public relation is how you maintain your name in the eyes of the government, in the eyes of the public, in the eyes of the consumers. All of that is your public relation. And your advertising, you're all very well aware of different kinds of advertisement that are there in the market, right? So, as I already said, marketing mix is nothing but it includes 4 P's, which are product, price, place and promotion. Okay. So now let's move on to the first P, which is product. So product includes, as I already told you, product variety, attributes, packaging, branding and servicing. Right. So we're going to do a 14-mark question over here, which is nothing but new product development. Right. So when I say product, you can think about all those things, but you need to develop a new product to sell it into the market. So these are the 7 steps through which a new product is introduced into the market, right? The first step is idea generation. So what the marketers do is they sit together and decide like what kind of product should we sell. They collect different ideas, right? So, but in the next step, what we do is like we screen those ideas. Now, every idea is not feasible or cannot be manufactured into a product. So we screen the ideas, and whatever is a good idea, we will select that and do the next step, which is your marketing strategy development. So marketing strategy is nothing but it includes all the 4 P's, right? How do I sell the product? If I make this product, will it be saleable? What is my marketing strategy? How do I convince the consumer to buy this product? All of that, right? Next is your business evaluation. See, till now, whatever we're talking about is like very abstract idea. In business evaluation, this is where we come to the reality of it, right? We talk about the money aspect of it. If I make this product, what is my cost? What will be my profit? In how much time will I be able to make the profit? How much can I sell? All that comes under your business evaluation. Till this step, whatever we're talking about is only in terms of paper, right? The next step is called as your product development, where I'm actually developing a prototype. Prototype is like a small model that I develop to see how good that product is, how it is working in the market. All that comes into your product development. So once I develop a product, I try to see if there's any modifications I need to make. All of those arrangements I will make, and I will do the next step, which is called as test marketing. This is nothing but giving it to a small group of consumers to see what is their reaction regarding that particular product. That is your test marketing. And the last step is, if I'm satisfied over there, I will give it out to the public so that they can use the product, right? That is commercialization. So the 7 steps are: I generate an idea. Out of the idea, I screen and select what is the best. I develop a strategy of how to sell this product. In business evaluation, I'm going to think about the cost of manufacturing the product. I'm going to think about the profit and the sale. In product development, I'm going to make a prototype. In test marketing, I'm going to give it to a small number of consumers to see how they react to the product. If I'm satisfied, the last step is commercialization, which is sell it to a large set of people. Right? So this is one thing about product. Now let's move on.
No.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is product life cycle. Right? Just like how you go through different stages of your life, you are an infant, to you become an older person, right? And you go through different stages in life. Just like that, a product also goes through different stages, which is called as your product life cycle. Now there are 4 stages of it, which is introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. So as you can see, I've drawn a chart over here. Okay, in the graph, this represents the sale. This represents how much time it takes to cross over to different stages. Right? So if you look at the first stage, which is introduction, you can see that the sale is just gradually increasing. When you explain that for your examination point of view, keep all these points in mind. Okay, you need to think about who your customers are, what is your sales, what is your profit, and who your competitors are. In your first stage, you're just introducing the product into the market. So therefore, at that time, the consumers are very less, because very less people know about your product. When there are less people who know about your product, therefore, what will happen? The sale is also less. If the sale is less, definitely the profit is also less. At this stage, the competition is not yet entered in the market because you are a fairly new market, right? In the next stage, as you can see, the sale is actually increasing exponentially. So this is your growth stage. So in your growth stage, what happens is, by now, your consumers are aware about your product. Okay, so when your consumers are aware, obviously your sales increases. When your sales increases, your profit increases, and slowly the competition is coming into the market, right? So they're not in complete force, but then they're still coming into the market. Now the next stage is maturity. In the graph itself, as you can see, that is like the longest phase of a product. So maturity is nothing but a peak where the profit and the sale is at the maximum. So by this stage, what happens is, your consumers already know about the product, therefore the sale is at the maximum, the profit is also at the maximum, and in the last stage itself, slowly the competition came into the market. By this stage, the competition is trying to overcome the market or throw you down, right? So which comes in the next stage, which is your decline stage. So in your decline stage, what happens is, as you can see, the sale is reducing. That means the competition is successful enough to take over your market. Therefore, the consumers have started buying the competition's product, and the sales reduces. When the sales reduces, the profit also reduces. Okay. Now let's look at this with an example of a company. You might have heard of a company called as ID. They manufacture all these idli dosa batters. You might have seen that in the market, right? So if we look at a product like that, in the introduction stage, what they did was they introduced idli dosa batters. They wanted to see like how the consumers are liking the product and things like that. So they slowly introduced the product into the market. Okay. So at that time, the consumers just knew about the product. The sales just slowly picked up, and the profit also was slowly picking up. In the growth stage, by the time there were other companies that were slowly coming into the market trying to sell the same kind of idli dosa batters, right? So in this stage, they try to slowly introduce different kinds of products. Other than idli and dosa batter, they try to introduce other products which will last much more longer, and they increase certain features. That is what they do at a growth stage. That is a marketing strategy at that stage. In maturity stage, as I told you, where the maximum competition is coming into the market, right? When the competition is coming into the market, you have to be more innovative so that your consumers will still buy your products. So what ID did was, they came out with a lot of different variants of products. You might have seen the idli dosa batter. In the growth stage, they came out with the parota and chapati batter. Okay. By maturity stage, they came out with different kinds of products that were available in different sizes. Have you seen those filter coffee packets that ID manufactures? So they give you the decoction. You just need to add milk and sugar, and your coffee, instant coffee, is kind of ready. Okay. So they made that. Recently, about 1 month back, they also came out with a different product. That is, they give you coconut, okay, not just the coconut with the shell. They give you a coconut with the shell. What they do is, like, they remove the top of it and then they grate the entire coconut and seal it back and give it to you. So you don't have to really grate coconut. So if you are into cooking, you know how difficult it is to grate coconut. So they are giving you something that is already instant. So that is a phase where you come up with all the different products so that your competition does not take over your market. And luckily for ID, they're still in their they're still in their maturity phase. They have not crossed over to decline stage because they're still able to innovate. If you think about companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, your McDonald's, all of them are in the market for a long time because they're still in their maturity phase. They're able to innovate, come up with different products. But if you look at a product like Nokia, what happened was they are already in the decline stage. They could not recover the market and their sales went down. Okay, so this is with product life cycle. So the things that you need to remember about product life cycle is nothing but there are 4 stages through which a product passes on to different stages. So the first stage is introduction. So when you introduce a product, your consumers are slowly getting to know about the product, therefore the sale is less, and the sale is less, the profit is also less. In your growth stage, what happens is your customers are aware about your product, so your sales is increasing. When your sales increase, your profit also increases, and the competition is slowly coming into the market. Okay. In your maturity stage, this is your peak where your consumers know about your product, they like your product, therefore your sale is at the maximum and the profit is also at the maximum, and the competition is trying to overthrow you from the market. The last stage is your decline, where the competition was successful enough to overthrow you from the market, therefore the consumers prefer the competitors' products, the sales is less and the profit is also less. This is product life cycle. So let's move on to the next P. I already discussed about product. Okay, so product, in that I taught you 2 14-mark questions, which is new product development and product life cycle. So let's move on to price, which is the next P. Price is nothing but your cost plus your price. In this, the 14-mark that you need to focus on is your methods of pricing. Okay, you might have seen this kind of strategy everywhere, but you wouldn't know what it is technically called as. Okay, as consumers, we are aware about different kinds of pricing, but then we didn't know what it was called. Okay, so here you will get to know what it's called. So for your exam, focus on those keywords and try to write it that way. Okay, so methods of pricing, we have one is based on the consumer, the other one is based on competition, cost and demand, and based on geographical location. This is how it is categorized. So if you look at the first one, based on consumer, how they have priced this, first one is odd even pricing. Have you seen products that come as let's say 299 rupees, 599 rupees? Those are your odd even pricing. Okay, so it's just, if you look at 299, you think it's within the 200 range, but if you actually look at it, it's just 1 rupee lesser than 300. Okay, so that is your odd even pricing. Psychological pricing is kind of playing with the mind of your consumer. So you price your product according to what the consumer wants. So if a consumer feels that a product at a higher price gives you a better quality, definitely you would price it at a higher price. Otherwise, if the consumers feel this much price is not required for this particular product, what do? You reduce the price. That is your psychological pricing. Next is your prestige pricing. Here, the company just thinks about, like, if I sell it at a higher price, what will happen? It will increase the status of a particular person. So therefore, I will always price it at a higher price. You can think of your example of your high-end model cars or your Apple products. They are always at prestige pricing. They increase the price so that people will want to buy it to show off as a status symbol. Next is your dual pricing. When the same product is given at 2 different prices, that is called as dual pricing. So this normally happens like whatever you're selling, let's say to the government, is always sold at a lesser price. An example for that is like paracetamol. When you buy that from a government hospital, it is at a lesser price, whereas if you buy the same thing from a private hospital, it's going to cost you more. That is dual pricing. The same product, priced at two different places is called as dual pricing. So based on consumer is your odd even pricing. Okay, that is $2.99, $5.99. Psychological pricing, based on the psychology of the consumer, you change the price. Prestige pricing is giving certain status or prestige symbol that you price your product at a higher level, that is prestige pricing. Dual pricing, the same product is given at two different prices, is called as dual pricing. Let's move on based on competition. So when the competition is into the market, you need to think about different strategies to overcome that competition. So one of those strategies is called as penetration pricing. That is, you start off selling the product at a very low price, and slowly as it is catching into the market or getting the attention of the consumers, you slowly increase the price. The best example for that would be any FMCG product like Hammam or anything like that. Any FMCG product, they always start at, like, let's say a base price of 10 rupees, and then they slowly keep increasing to a higher price as they capture the market. That is penetration pricing. Skimmed pricing. The thing that I always tell my students is skimmed. You've heard of skimmed milk. That means it was at 100% and slowly it has been reduced to whatever percentage of fat that is there in the milk. Exactly the same thing is done over here. Skimmed pricing is nothing but you start off at a higher price and slowly reduce the price as the time goes on. This is normally done by any company that manufactures electronic products like your phones. This year it is at a higher price, next year a new model comes, the price is reduced. That is your skimmed pricing. Monopoly pricing is there's only one company, one pricing. Okay. Administered pricing, this is based on the company itself, how much they think should be the price of the product. That is your administered pricing. Let's move on to based on cost and demand. That is cost plus your profit. So what are the costs that are normally incurred in manufacturing a product? Like your raw materials, you need to pay your employees. There are fixed overhead charges like your rent, other things that you need to pay, your salaries, plus whatever is the profit I intended, that is my cost plus pricing. Target return is you would have heard of ROI or return pricing. That is, you think about how much I think about as my returns, this much percentage I should get back. So I price my product according to that. Demand-based pricing. So as the demand increases, I will increase the price. As the demand reduces, I will decrease the price. Now amongst this coronavirus scare, you know what products are in great demand. Your sanitizers, your mask, all of those things. Based on that, they've increased the price. Okay, so that is your demand-based pricing. Let's move on to geographical location. So the first one is FOB or free on board pricing. So in this, what happens is they ship your product, they charge you for loading or unloading of your product. So they charge you for your transportation also. That is free on board pricing. Zone pricing is where you set different zones. Different zones will have different kinds of pricing. You might have seen products like Nandini. So what it says is in the bottom it will say within Karnataka this is the price range. Outside Karnataka this is the price range. Okay, so that is zone pricing. You segregate your market into different zones. Different zones will have different kinds of pricing. And the last one is base point pricing. So you can think of this as an example, let's say your Amazon, your Flipkart and all that. So they have certain base points. So from this location to this location, this is how much we charge for transportation. From that location to somewhere else, it will be a different kind of pricing. That is your base point pricing. You have a base point. From this point, whatever is the distance, based on that you charge for your transportation. Okay, all right. Thank you and have a nice day.